Hey everyone, Ronan here, and welcome back to the channel. This part was a massive one from the writing to the editing, so I really hope you enjoy it. But before we get into that, we got a couple of things we gotta do like usual. So, PJ Hoskins, thank you very much for the support, and also you guys, analytics are very important, so please take a look at these numbers right here, and don't forget to drop a like and a comment to help fuel the algorithm. Also, if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that way you'll never miss another upload from the channel. But with all that being said, let's get into what if Ash won the Hoenn League, Part 11. I hope you enjoy. We begin today's part with our heroes as they are on a boat heading to the site of the next contest. However, things have been a little rough as it's only been a day since they left Mossdeep, and there is a storm that has been progressively building since the day before they left. Luckily for our heroes, the place they are heading to, Izabi Island, is within their view. It's a good thing as the weather has become darker and they need to get to solid land as soon as possible. Quickly, the group finds themselves standing on the dock of Parika City. However, there is something here that catches the attention of everyone, as at the center of the island stands a tall mountain that seems to be covered perpetually with a cloak of snow. The harbor master mentions that Izabi Island is unique in this part of Hoenn, as it has several different areas that favor different environments. At the center of it all is Izabi Mountain. It's the perfect refuge for ice Pokemon. Ash looks up thinking, I might want to check that place out before they leave. However, the group is quickly reminded of the storm as a cold front pushes onto the docks, forcing our heroes to seek shelter in the Pokemon Center for the rest of the night. This is a bit disheartening for May and Ash as they wanted a chance to train a little bit before the competition, which is in 2 days' time. Hopefully, the weather will calm down before they have to compete. With nothing else to do for the night, the group tries to get some information about the contest and the island, so while Max and Brock get the room, May and Ash begin to ask the questions. However, they quickly find that there is a problem with the contest. This info comes in the form of Grace, who has been on the island for about a week. It turns out that there aren't enough coordinators to fill all of the necessary spots for the contest. Even with Ash and May entering, they are still one short. The contest committee is giving it until sundown tomorrow for someone else to enter, or it will be cancelled. Both Ash and May are a bit peeved at this as they were hoping to earn their next ribbon, so the two decide that they will find the last participant of the contest at all costs. Grace is a bit amused by this declaration, stating that if it were that simple, then she would have done it already, but there is something that these two have that Grace doesn't. That's determination. Before Grace can say anything further, both May and Ash take off to interrogate the patrons of the center. The two bombard everyone they can find with questions. With both of them asking in tandem, none can get out a full answer before they move on to the next person. This pattern continues for quite a while, until Ash and May have exhausted everyone inside of the center. The two have begun to lose hope, hanging their heads in defeat. Grace just laughs, telling the two that even though they failed, it was amusing to watch. As they both accept their defeats, the chime on the door rings as someone new walks through the door. Perking right up, Ash and May rush the boy, again firing off question after question. Confused, the boy simply tells them that whatever they are selling, he doesn't want to buy any, so if they will excuse him, he's had a long trip and would really like to get his Pokemon checked out. He then pushes past May and Ash, heading for the counter. Both are unsure of why this guy just ignored them, so our heroes give pursuit, again asking questions, while telling the boy it's rude to have ignored them. But the boy continues with his interaction, giving Nurse Joy his Pokeballs. She politely tells him over the roar of Ash and May that she will have them ready in a few hours, so he should get some rest. The boy thanks her before turning to once again tell the two that he doesn't want to buy anything, but May is finally able to get out a coherent sentence telling the boy that she's not trying to sell something. She wants to know if he would be willing to enter the contest. The boy looks at the two puzzled, only for May to realize that they haven't been formally introduced. She is May and he is Ash. They are trying to get one more person for the Pokemon contest. This causes the boy to introduce himself as Vito, a trainer competing in the Hoenn League. He then politely declines, telling May and Ash that he only seeks a badge, so when the storm passes, he's heading to Mossdeep City for his final one. This excites Ash, as he states he is also in the Hoenn League, showing his 5 badges. Well, I guess we'll get a chance to battle either way, Vito says, so you'll just have to wait until then. However, this conversation is going to be interrupted when an announcement comes over the comms, stating that all travel from the island will be suspended for the next few days. Well, May says, it seems like we're going to be able to get get to know each other really well. Ashton states that he just came from Mossdeep City, and the gym leaders are tough, so Vito should enter the contest. It would be a great way to practice for his final gym badge. Taking a moment to think about this, Vito tells Ash that he has a point. Alright, he'll enter the contest, considering he's going to be trapped here with nothing else left to do. There will be no harm in giving it a try. Excited, May and Ash clench their fists as they now get a chance to battle for their next ribbon. Unfortunately, this small victory is going to be interrupted by none other than Harley, as he too has made his way to the island. The green-clad man states that he's glad he didn't leave the island this morning. He was afraid that the contest would have been cancelled, but now May is here and he will have a chance to humiliate her with his new secret weapon. However, May, just as she had done before in Lily Cove, simply ignores him in favor of showing Vito where he can register for the contest. This leaves Harley fuming as Grace joins him, stating that it's so cute when he's angry. Well, Miss May won't like my anger during the contest, he states, watching her and Ash walk off, leaving him to stand with his own thoughts of frustration. With the issue of their final contest participant now solved, Ash and May are able to spend the next morning getting prepared for it. They spend a lot of time with Vito and the Pokemon he plans to enter in the first round with his Alakazam. The group has found out that this is a smart style of contest, so the way Vito sees it, a psychic type would be the best bet considering he doesn't really have any contest experience. However, from the shadows on the other side of the tree line, Harley and a spooky new partner practices out of sight. However, he will use the information that he has gained watching the two, as he has marked that May will be using two new Pokemon for this contest in Chimecho and Surskit with the permission of Max, while Ash will be using Feebas and Spoink. However, the day goes by very quickly, and before they know it, our heroes find themselves awaiting their turn for the performance round. However, there is one thing that is missing, that being Brock and Max. They have once again decided to stay back and observe Brock's Pokemon. The breeder has been obsessed with Torkoal ever since the issue it had in Lily Cove, but it's more out of need to understand why. The old man said those berries would help create the perfect Pokeblock, but something went wrong, and it had to do with those berries. The two have been meticulous in their observations. Brock measures the weight and output of energy from Torkoal, making sure that if there's any changes, he knows about it instantly. But Max does question if Brock intends on telling the others about what happened. Brock tells Max in due time. He just wants to make sure that he didn't cause any permanent damage to any of his Pokemon. Besides, they have to focus on the contest and gyms, so I wouldn't want them to have their attention split. Max thinks about this statement, not really sure if Brock is actually right on this. Now we flash over to the contest, as all of our heroes have made it past the demonstration rounds. We now find everyone in the midst of the battle rounds, with May going first, and she will be facing off with none other than Harley and his newest partner, the one known as Bennett. While May's choice is one that has everyone thinking that she may lose this battle, her Chimecho. However, May quickly proves everyone wrong when she is able to use Harley's ghost-type tactics against him by using Chimecho's natural voice to pinpoint the ghost before hitting it with the Psy-Wave. This combination of attacks causes a rapid drop in Harley's points, as he tries to cause any damage. But the supersonic of May's Pokemon has put Harley in an unrecoverable position, resulting in his points being too low when time in the round is called, allowing May to move on to the top 4. This brings us to the first round with Ash. He has found himself in battle with Vito. The two are excited to see what one another has, as Ash sends in his Feebas, which surprises the judges as it is able to actually move on land. Vito can see that this fish is something strong by the way it carries itself and the many battle scars it has, so he decides that he wants to see exactly what it can do by challenging it with a Pokemon that Ash has only seen recent as of the Lily Cove contest, something called Milotic. It's here that Vito explains Milotic evolves from Feebas, so he would like to see what abilities Ash's has. The mere challenge of its evolution has stirred something inside of the fish, as it gives all the attention it has to Milotic. Feeling the grit of determination that his fish is giving off, Ash is happy to oblige, engaging in battle as he calls for a double edge. Vito chooses to humor Ash by giving a command of a water pulse from his serpent. However, he is surprised at the power Feebas gives off, as it is able to push through and crack the evolution in its head, costing some points to Vito. This is when he realizes that this Feebas is different, and is backed up by Ash saying he won't be able to hold his fish off by trying to overpower it. So if Vito doesn't put some power behind his attacks, then Ash will be able to claim victory here. Beginning to understand what this boy is saying, Vito Vito pulls out all the stops as he orders Milotic in full force. What follows is an all-out Pokemon battle between the two evolutions. Both Ash and Vito ignore the points and the time limit. May watches from the locker room, wondering what Ash is doing. He's throwing away his chance to get to the next round, but it's too late. The timer is called and Ash is the loser. Vito was able to show his own power and deal more damage to Feebas as the points are concerned. But as for who took more lumps, you can tell that Milotic is far worse. The Serpent is breathing hard, and it will have trouble going forward. But May notices something else. Even though Ash and Feebas lost, the two both seem to be pleased, like they didn't care for winning. May doesn't understand this, but she can't worry about that now, as she has the next round to prepare for. What follows is May taking advantage of Vito in the next round as Milotic is having trouble causing any damage to Chimecho. Feebas really took it out of the water type, and its inability to hit May's Pokemon is costing Vito big in the points department. This results in the end of the round being called and May being declared the winner. It turns out Vito didn't really understand the point system, and the only reason he beat Ash was because Ash landed less hits than him. This places May squarely in the finals, as she is going to face none other than Grace and her Exploud. However, this isn't where we are going to stay, as we follow Vito, as he has told Ash that he enjoyed their battle so much he would like to help him in Feebas. This brings them out to the lobby of the contest hall. Vito takes Ash over to one of the Pokeblock machines and explains that his Milotic just recently evolved. It was able to do so when I helped it recognize its true beauty. Vito then presents Ash with 2 Pokeblocks and asks him to call out his Feebas. So the boy does, as Vito crouches down to it and explains that he enjoyed their battle today, and he can see that Feebas is something that prides itself on its power, so he would like to offer it a chance to grow stronger. The fish looks at Ash and the boy simply nodding, telling it that if it wants to grow stronger, then they will do it together. Vito then tells Feebas to eat the 2 Pokeblock. As the water type munches down, Vito explains that Feebas will only evolve when it has maxed out its own beauty. In the wild, Milotic are extremely rare, as they need a particular berry that only grows on land. See, Feebas as a fish can access it, but these berries are really rare and Feebas needs a lot of them in order to evolve. Vito then shows Ash the berries, which triggers something. Ash remembers seeing those in the cove that he caught Feebas in. It's here that the boy puts things together. Feebas was the only Pokemon in that cove. It must have been fighting off other Pokemon in order to protect those berries until they were fully grown. That's why Feebas is so big. Vito confirms this, explaining that Feebas typically grow in size the more they eat the berries, gaining weight for evolution. It's here that Ash sees what Vito means. Feebas must have been growing in the cove for a long time, waiting season after season for the berries to ripen. Then I caught it and stopped it growing. It's here that Ash realizes he stopped it from obtaining its own goal of evolution, and he begins to apologize to it, but Vito stops the boy, telling him that he can make it right. Vito then tells Ash to hold out his hand, filling it with a few blueberries. The reason it takes so long for Feebas to evolve in the wild is because the berries it needs has to be blue first off, and they need a lot of them. But that's where Pokeblock comes in. We can help them achieve evolution so much quicker by giving them Pokeblock, as the ingredients are more refined and potent. This allows the body of the Pokemon who has eaten it to absorb them more efficiently, which will trigger evolution in some of them, like Feebas. Ash looks at the fish and asks if it really wants to evolve. There's no hesitation in its response, as there has been nothing more that it has ever wanted than this in its own life. Okay, Ash smiles. Let's make some Pokeblock. But there's only one problem. Ash doesn't know exactly how, but Vito tells him not to worry. He will help Ash craft those berries. But there will only be a limited supply, so Ash will have to find more if this doesn't help it evolve. The two then get to work as the final round of the contest rages on. By the end, Ash has a handful of Pokeblock that Feebas devours like it had never had a meal before in its life, and May has unfortunately lost this contest, allowing Grace to win her 4th ribbon. Vito tells Ash that Feebas may not have evolved from the block they collected today, but to keep gathering berries, as due to its size, it may not be far off. Ash thanks Vito for all of the help with Feebas. The fish is grateful as well, since it had all but given up on evolving after it had been caught. Later at the Pokemon Center, the group rejoins Max and Brock, as May breaks the bad news of her loss. However, she's not bummed out by it, as she knows that there's still time. They have the Slateport Super Contest coming up, and it will be a 3-day event, so there will be plenty of time for her to get the last ribbons she needs. Then Ash explains about Vito and how he's going to need to collect berries in order to make Pokeblock. By doing so, Ash will be able to help Feebas evolve. He then asks Brock and his help to craft the best possible Pokeblock for this task. This request causes Brock to hesitate in his answer, as he knows what happened with his previous experiments as he looks at Torkoal. However, he still needs to stay under wraps for the time being, so he agrees to help, as not to raise suspicion. Ash thanks his friend, as he then asks the obvious question: where are they going next? The storm is surrounding the island, and there's no transportation leaving until it's done. This is where Max chimes in with the Pokénav. If they head across the island to the south side, then they will be able to get a ride. There are much bigger ships that leave the port there, and they will still be on schedule. However, there is a slight issue. The island has a diverse climate, and the recent storm has peppered most of the routes in snow. They will have to head around the mountain to get there. Well, if that's the only way, Ash says, then I guess we'll have to take it. So the groups decided this is their next course of action as they settle in for the night before the long trek through the cold in the morning. The next day, we find our heroes walking on a snow-covered trail that caresses the mountain. Here, we see May and Max hanging back with Surskit as they talk about the contest, while Ash and Brock are on the lookout for some of the berries that Vito had told Ash about. It gets to the point that the group decides it's time to stop for lunch, as they had left pretty early to beat any storm that may come their way. Luckily, the sky has been pretty clear above the island, with only a few cold breezes coming in from off the sea. Now, with the fire set, Brock begins working on lunch, while Ash begins some training and preparation for his upcoming gym battle. Here, we see Spoink, Vigoroth, Vibrava, and Feebas all playing in a nearby pond that hasn't frozen over, which allows for some interesting exchanges due to the cold weather. What follows is a few practice battles between the four, with Feebas being the instigator of them. However, while they are all enjoying themselves, we shift over to Grovyle, as it once again stands before the tallest tree that it can find while trying to muster the strength for a Fury Cutter. However, each attempt is met with failure quicker than the last, as it just slams its forearms into the trunk, causing pain. Having watched this enough, Ash with Pikachu on his shoulder makes the attempt to approach the starter and offers some words of encouragement. Speaking with a confident tone, Ash tells the grass type he knows it's been struggling, and this has caused it to doubt its abilities. But Ash knows that they can do this together. Grovyle just has to let Ash help it, and they can become stronger together. In this moment, it seems like the Woodgecko may heed Ash's words. However, as Ash takes a step toward it, Grovyle takes off running into the forest. Realizing he can't leave it alone, Ash takes off after it, unwilling to let it suffer by itself. This happens so quick that no one sees it, as we shift over to May and Max as they are sitting on a log, while they are talking about the issue with Surskit. Max tells May he's sorry on how he handled things when they ran into Mom and Dad. He's just scared that things are changing so quickly. Everyone is growing, and he feels like he's being left behind. That's why he tried to leave with Surskit when he did. He just wants the chance to grow like everyone else. May explains she understands what Max means, but he needs to remember that there are others who care about him, and he needs to think about how his actions will impact those who love him. She was really hurt when he put himself in danger like that. Max nods as he pets the bug on its head. The boy begins to say something, but is then interrupted by the sound of a twig snapping, followed by something falling in the snow. At first, the two see nothing, but Surskit quickly jumps and runs across the powder until it stops. Max and May follow in a hurry as the bug is crying urgently about something. As the two get closer, they can see to what looks like a Pokemon. Kneeling down, Max tries to nudge it to get a response, but upon contact, the Pokemon that May has identified as Ralts is burning to the touch. Even with the snow, the little guy is really hot. It has a fever, May says. We need to get it back to Brock. He will know what to do. So Max picks up the psychic type and runs into the direction of the camp while screaming Brock's name. Hearing the urgency, Brock rushes, only to be met with the feverish Pokemon. Realizing what is happening, Brock tells them to put it on the table. He then tells Max to get the medical kit. The boy does as told, and Brock gets to work. Luckily, he's able to get some medication into the Mon to help counteract the fever. Brock says that they will have to watch Ralts to make sure that its fever comes down. Max volunteers for this, with both Surskit and him refusing to leave Ralt's side. This allows us to follow up with Ash. He's giving chase to Grovyle, but has lost sight of the grass type. The boy now finds himself lost in the snow-covered forest on the island. Pikachu tries to use his sense of smell to locate the wood gecko, but to no avail. The wind is too strong and he can't get a fix on it. However, the mouse does notice some movement off in the corner of its eyes, causing it to signal Ash before running off. Giving chase, Ash calls to it and Grovyle, telling the wood gecko to slow down. However, after running for what seems like an eternity and Pikachu getting false signals left and right, the two find themselves in a clearing within the forest. But what Ash finds is something that he thought he would have to hunt for a long time. It's a bushel of trees that are dotted with blueberries hanging from their branches. Ash can't believe his eyes. Quickly, he and Pikachu begin to gather as many as he can carry as he fills his pockets. While Ash is happy to have found these, the question is, where are they? However, this is when the worst possible thing happens. The once clear skies begin to quickly fill with dark clouds and snow begins to fall. With the high winds, Ash can see nothing more than a few feet in front of him. Knowing things just got bad, Ash realizes they need to return to camp. However, the way they came isn't exactly clear, but Pikachu then sees something in the distance and takes off running, with Ash giving chase, hoping that they may have finally found Grovyle. Back at camp, Brock and May have put up their tents for the night to create any type of shelter that they can. While they get things squared away, Max does his best to shield Ralts from the storm as the psychic type has begun to regain consciousness to see Max over it trying to keep it warm. But it quickly fades back out just as it briefly connects with the boy on a mental level. Max watches as it falls back asleep, only for the boy to reassure it that he will protect it. Luckily, May and Brock have completed their shelter and rush to get inside as they stoke the fire to keep it going. However, there is one problem. Ash isn't here, as all of his Pokemon have rejoined them. Well, all except for Pikachu and Grovyle. Instantly, the group looks out in the blizzard. They hope that Ash is okay. However, as they are wondering, Grovyle is just outside of the shelter, hearing that Ash has not returned. Looking out in the direction that he had ran, Grovyle takes off into the storm, fading from visibility. Back with Ash and Pikachu, the two are trying to fight their way through the storm, looking for any signs of Grovyle. However, it seems that they are lost, losing any trace that they may have had. The only hope they have is shadows that seem to be playing games with them. While they stumble through the snow, the two happen upon an opening in the mountainside, a cave that seems to be untouched by the harsh snow. Knowing they need to get out of the weather, Ash and Pikachu head inside. However, just when Ash thought he was out of the woods, those shadows come back into view as Pikachu begins to spark in a defensive stance. However, whatever it is seems to be closing in. Wanting to protect them, Pikachu begins firing off thunderbolts as it tries to stop this thing. But it's no use, as this thing is closing in on them, with each thunderbolt revealing what is hunting them, or playing with them, as a cheerful cry, like it's having fun, echoes throughout the cave. Ash tells Pikachu to stop, as from within the shadows steps out a Pokemon that seems to be laughing. Pulling out his Pokédex, Ash learns that this is something called a Snorunt, an Ice-type Pokemon. It's here that Ash puts it together. You brought us here to get us out of the storm, didn't you? Snorunt jumps for joy, signaling that it wanted someone to play with, and when it saw Ash and Pikachu in the berry grove, it decided to bring them back here. Ash thanks the Ice-type by offering it some of the berries he picked. Snorunt gladly eats them, as they are its favorite kind of food. Ash settles in as Pikachu and Snorunt eat the berries and then begin to play with each other. The boy realizes that they will be stuck in here for the night, so he settles in, trying to keep warm. But with how cold it is, the boy has trouble, shivering constantly. This causes Pikachu and Snorunt to stop their endeavors as they cuddle up to the boy. While Snorunt is an ice type, it surprises Ash by how warm it is. The Snowhatmon snuggles in close as it and Pikachu fall asleep on Ash, tired from all of the playing they had just done. The three settle in for a long night as the winds howl outside the cave. The next morning, Ash is up bright and early as he wasn't able to sleep much. Snorunt and Pikachu are up as well, having munched on the berries before starting to chase each other around. However, Ash stops them, saying they need to get back to their camp. He then asks Snorunt if it can lead them back to the berry patch from the day before. The ice type jumps as it leads them out of the cave. It isn't long until they find themselves at the berries, to which have now frozen over due to the blizzard. Ash makes a brief stop to pick some more of the berries to replenish the supply that he had eaten for food. Then, both he and Pikachu thank Snorunt for all of its help, before telling the Icemon they have to get back to their friends. However, as they turn to leave, Snorunt lets out a cry. It doesn't want them to go. They had so much fun, and it wants to just play a little bit longer. But Ash tells it that they can't stay. They have a boat to catch, and he has to make sure his friends are okay. Then, the boy stands up and he and Pikachu wave bye to Snorunt before walking back in the direction of their camp, leaving the Ice Hatmon with tears in its eyes. It doesn't take long for Ash to find his way back to the camp to see his friends are safe and sound. They are all happy to see him, and we're starting to think the worst. As Ash and Pikachu are greeted by everyone, including the Pokemon he had left behind, it quickly becomes apparent that one is missing. Ash asks if anyone has seen Grovyle, as he had gotten lost trying to find it, but everyone says they haven't, as they explain the issues that they were having with their new friend of Max, Ralts, who is now up and moving around after the medicine had run its course. Both it and Max have become fast friends as they play with Surskit in the snow. However, the mood is going to change drastically when everyone realizes that Grovyle is still out there and was out there all night. Ash immediately begins to panic as he urges everyone to help him look. However, this is going to be stopped when a whoosh of snow envelops the area, causing everyone to stop in their tracks. They all look as three figures stand in the cloud of dust. Quickly, Ralts gets excited as it rushes at the three. However, as the cloud disperses, it is revealed to be Grovyle, who seems to be bound by the other Pokemon as their eyes are glowing in a psychic energy while it struggles to free itself. With the help of May's Pokedex, they find out that these two Pokemon are called Curlia and Gardevoir, the evolutions of Ralts. As the first stage joins what seems to be its family, they break their mental hold on the grass type, only for it to drop to the ground, unconscious from the long night it had. At first, this is seen as a sign of aggression by Ash as he prepares to attack the three, but this quickly stops as they enter the mindscapes of the humans and show what had happened. Grovyle got lost in the storm looking for something. They found it and kept it safe while they were looking for Ralts. When they found it, they knew that Grovyle would be important for a trade, so they can get back the first stage. So here they are. Ash thanks the two for helping us Grovyle before returning it to its Pokeball. However, this moment is going to become very emotional for one individual, as Max lets out a cry. He doesn't want to say goodbye to another friend. First Jirachi, now Ralts. It's not something that he thinks he can do again. However, Ralts teleports next to the boy and gives him a big hug. Then it mentally tells Max that he can always come back and visit, but Ralts needs to be with his family, like Max needs to be with his, as the boy looks at May. It then teleports back to the side of its evolutions before waving one final time to the group. Crying, the last thing Max says is that he will see Ralts again before they teleport from view. Max does his best to choke back his tears while May consoles him. It's here that Brock asks Ash to see Grovyle. It being exposed all night could be bad for it, especially with its weakness to ice. So Brock begins to look over Grovyle as it is now awoken and appears to have a little frostbite on its head leaf. Ash looks at the lizard as it just stares at the ground. Ash knows why it was out in the storm, thinking that the Pokemon he knows is still in there somewhere, but he just needs to find a way to get through to it. Brock quickly wraps up his review of the starter, telling Ash that it should be fine with some rest. So with that, Ash recalls it and the rest of his Pokemon as the group packs up camp and prepares to move on. However, they are stopped as there is an unexpected visitor. Snorunt has made its way to the group. It immediately runs to Ash's side, playing with Pikachu. Everyone is wondering what's happening here as the boy tells them how Snorunt saved him. They look at it playing with Pikachu as Brock tells Ash it seems that Snorunt is unwilling to say goodbye. Looking at the ice type, Ash asks if it wants to come with him and his friends, to which it jumps up and down happily to be with everyone. Ash then presents it with a Pokeball that he taps on its head before the light absorbs the mon, giving Ash a new capture in the region of Hoenn. However, this triggers Ash's Pokedex as he must choose someone to send to Professor Oak. It's here that he makes the choice to send Vigoroth for the time being. While Ash is happy that things have worked out, Max had to watch this and is having issues with Ash always getting things to go his way. But the boy is going to have to table these thoughts as the group prepares to move on to the south side of the island. It takes another 2 days due to the storm not subsiding, but our heroes are finally able to make their way to the south part of the island. The first stop for the group is going to be the Pokemon Center, as after so long stuck in the snowstorm, they want to make sure that their Pokemon are ready for open ocean travel. Luckily, aside from Grovyle being a little weak due to the exposure it had, the rest of them are given a green light to go. So they all head down to the docks in hope that they haven't been trapped in by a wall of ice around the island. However, fortune seems to be smiling in their favor, as even though the storm is still raging, it has moved away from the island. Approaching the dock, our heroes begin to look for any boats leaving the island. However, all of the ones that seem to be seaworthy have no people or crew present. Talking with one of the few people that they can find, Brock learns that all of the crews for these ships have headed into the island. They have chosen to wait out the storm for their own safety. empty. The group lets out a collective sigh of disappointment. However, there is some hope as they are directed to a ship that is all the way at the end of the dock. It appears someone is planning to leave, and they may be able to get a ride if they are willing to house a few extra heads. Seeing this as their only option, Ash takes off down the wooden planks in hopes of getting off of this island. It isn't long until the boat that they were looking for comes into view, which doesn't exactly strike confidence in our heroes, as it is a literal pirate ship. However, this does not stop Ash from asking around, only to be ignored by most of the crew as they are focused on completing their tasks in order to set sail. While this is frustrating, all of the commotion gets the attention of the first mate of the ship, who approaches Ash in an attempt to address this disturbance. The man introduces himself as Fitz. He then inquires why Ash is interrupting his crew. The boy explains his purpose and how he and his friends would like a chance to get a ride on their boat. So he was hoping to speak with Fitz since he is the captain and can grant his request. However, the man stops Ash, saying he's not the captain, pointing to a salty old sea dog that stands on the deck looking down on our heroes with a soul-piercing gaze. He is, so Captain Drake will have to be the one to make that decision. It's here a deep voice echoes from the deck.
Fitz, what is the meaning of this interruption? We have a schedule to keep.
The first mate explains Ash's request, only for the old man to look with an unchanging gaze. He then turns and waves a hand before walking off out of view. I'm sorry, Fitz says, but the captain has denied your request. You're going to have to wait until another ship can take you. This devastates everyone, as they were really looking forward to getting off the island. However, Ash won't take no for an answer, as he takes off and runs up the ramp onto the deck, as he yells for the old man to stop. This is the only ship that is leaving, and they need to go to Sutopolis City. Turning, the captain looks at Ash as Fitz and his friends come up from behind him. Hey kid, you need to leave. The captain has spoken. However, this is interrupted when Drake holds up his hand.
Wait, Fritz. Let me handle this. Boy, why are you trying to get to Sutopolis City?
Me and my friends need to get there so that I can have my next gym badge, as he opens his badge case to reveal 5 that he currently has. I want to enter the Hoenn League, and nothing is going to stop me. Drake looks the boy over once more.
Why do you wish to enter the Hoenn League?
Looking at Pikachu, Ash says that he aims to win. He and Pikachu are partners, and they have the same goal.
And what is this goal?
With an intensity to match the salty sea captain, Ash says he wants to be a Pokemon master.
And you think winning a regional championship will accomplish that?
Well, yeah, why wouldn't it?
Only a child would think like that. Okay, if you want to ride, then you, the next Hoenn champion, have to beat me in a Pokemon battle.
A bit excited and peeved at the tone Drake carries, he accepts these terms, as he knows there's no way this old guy can be that good of a trainer.
Good. We will have a 3-on-3. It will be right here on the deck of my ship, so everyone can see just how skilled you are, boy. We will have a series of one-off battles.
Ash looks around as all of the crew has stopped what was once their busy schedule to watch this battle. Drake then walks to the other side of the deck and pulls out a Pokeball.
Oh, by the way, there's one thing I forgot to mention. I, Drake, carry the distinction of the strongest of the Hoenn Elite Four. So if you want to be champion, then prove you have the ability to overcome any challenge.
Gulping, Ash begins to think he may have bitten off more than he can chew, but a deal is a deal, and he needs to get to Sutopolis City. Turning to Pikachu, Ash says he will be his first choice. The electric mouse sparks as it jumps forward.
So, starting out with your strongest right away. That's some great confidence you have. Let's see if your Pikachu can stand up to this. Altaria, go!
The Cloud Dragon pops from the ball and takes to the air. Fitz has taken the role of the official over the battle and gives the command to start. Drake gives Ash the first move, which the boy, confident in Pikachu, starts with a quick attack, trying to close the gap, but Drake simply orders the dragon higher to avoid this. However, Ash is on this as he orders Pikachu up the mast of the ship, giving chase. Wanting to prevent any leverage Ash may have, Drake calls for a sky attack in order to end this in one move. But Ash was expecting this, ordering Pikachu to use Electro Volley. This catches the Dragon Master off guard as Altaria is caught in a ball of electricity, immobilizing it. This allows follow-up on Ash's part, as with an Iron Tail from Pikachu, the mouse is able to land it square on the head of the fluffy ball, driving it into the deck below. This is enough to give Ash the first win, surprising him and Drake both. Recalling his dragon, Drake remains silent as Fitz gives Ash the win. This leads to the boy recalling Pikachu, as he thanks it for giving them the momentum. Wanting to break the silence, Ash pokes Drake a little, asking if it was too much for the old elite. However, that simply prompts a smile.
I may have misjudged you. It seems I'll have to stop holding back. Now, Flygon, go!
What pops from the ball is a dragon that seems oddly familiar to Ash. Once he uses his Pokédex, he can see why. It's the evolved form of Vibrava. So Ash, being Ash, wants to test his dragon as he declares, "Vibrava, I choose you." Popping from the ball with a slight sonic burst, Vibrava shows its excitement at the chance to battle.
So, you have a dragon as well. Then let's see which evolution is stronger. Flygon, use Flamethrower!
Spewing the fire from its gullet, the fully evolved Mon forces Vibrava to take to the sky. However, Flygon is quickly in pursuit, passing the mid-stage before Ash and it can see what is happening. Before Ash can give any command, Drake has ordered an Iron Tail from his dragon that hits so hard, it sends Vibrava into a nosedive that causes it to crash into the deck of the ship with a bone-chilling thud. Looking at his dragon, Ash can see that it is out cold, and recalls it, giving Drake the second win.
It looks like we're all tied up. I hope you save the best for last, or this will be over quickly.
Realizing that Drake is somewhat taunting him, Ash thinks about his options. Whatever is next can't be as bad as that Flygon. Plus, there's someone he wants to try and use as he thinks they can finally start working together again. Pulling out his Pokeball, Ash declares, "Grovyle, I choose you." The wood gecko emerges, trying to put on a brave face as it is still a little unsure about its abilities. But it sees Ash and his encouragement in it, so whether it has the confidence in itself or not, it will at least try. However, this changes quickly when Drake reveals his final Pokemon.
Salamence, go!
What emerges is a blood-curdling growl that sends shivers down the spine of Ash and his starter as the Ace of Drake reveals itself. The Dragon Master can see things for what they are, but asks Ash if he would like to take the first move. Trying to shake off this feeling he has, Ash gives a command for a quick attack, but it's no use. Fear has a grip on the wood gecko. It won't move. Grovyle knows there is no way it could even stand a chance against this dragon.
So it seems the final battle is over before it even begins. It's a shame, really. I was hoping for more from a trainer with your conviction, but it seems you don't have the fortitude to push through any barrier before you.
Fitz calls the battle in favor of the captain.
Well, a deal is a deal. I think it's time you leave my ship.
Drake then turns to walk away, but is stopped. Fitz tells the captain that even though Ash lost, they are short a few hands, so they could use the help. After all, they are headed to the same port we are. Looking back at his first mate, Drake gives the soul-piercing glare he is known for.
Do as you wish. Just know, if they cause any trouble, then the blame will fall squarely on you. Now I will be in my quarters if I am needed.
Drake then takes his leave, with Ash and Grovyle still standing in the same spot he left them. A few hours go by, and our heroes are making good on the promise that Fitz volunteered them for, as they all hold mops, scrubbing away at the deck and help tie down the supplies as the seas are beginning to get rough. Here we find May and Ash talking as they have completed some of the assigned tasks. May asks Ash if he's okay after the loss he suffered. The boy responds that he is fine. It's just Grovyle. He's worried about it. Ash has never seen it freeze like that in battle before, and is concerned as they have become so distant that he's not even sure if he can get through to it. May tells Ash that she's noticed the decline of the grass type in the recent weeks, and asks if this is something that he went through with Charizard. Chuckling, Ash says no, Charizard was vastly different. As it evolved, it outgrew me, so I had to catch up to it. It took a while, but soon it recognized my skill had grown. Ever since then, when I needed its help, it would respond. But it's off training now, as we found the only way we could grow stronger is for us to part ways for the time being. It felt that its power was lacking, May asks. Yeah, when we went out to Johto, Charizard learned that it wasn't the strongest of its kind, so it decided to train in a place where nothing but wild Charizard live. The goal is a simple one. It wants to become the strongest. It's here that May points out Grovyle is going through something similar. Turning, Ash asks what she means, to which she elaborates stating that Grovyle has always valued its strength. Even when you don't train, it is. But as of late, it hasn't been training, yet everyone on his team is growing stronger. Grovyle has hit a plateau, while everyone else is still growing stronger. However, they are doing so by working with you and each other, while it still can't get past its loner habits. Ash is beginning to see what May is saying. What she has said makes sense. The question is, how do I get through to it, Ash says. Well, that's only something you can figure out, but I know that you can, as I've always seen you do wonders with your other Pokemon since I've known you. Heck, you even managed to get vigor Vigoroth to evolve, and that thing had been hanging around my dad's gym since before Max was born. I didn't ever think it would evolve, or that it could be as strong as it has become, but here we are, and it has proven us all wrong. Ash thinks about this as they continue to work. However, this conversation wasn't just the two of them, as Max had heard everything they had talked about, and the topic of Vigoroth is one that the boy is very sensitive about. Max has known it since he was a baby, and the fact that Ash is its trainer is something the boy is having a hard time dealing with, especially since he sent it away so he could make room for Snorunt. But the boy is in no position to do anything about it at this moment, so he must deal with it as he gets back to work. However, he wasn't the only one listening in, as May and Ash were outside Drake's personal quarters, and the Dragon Master heard everything that they were saying. However, he remains silent as the boat sails off into the heart of an oncoming storm. A few days later, despite the treacherous seas, the ship safely docks in the port outside of the volcano city of Sutopolis. This is the first time any of our heroes have set eyes on a place like this. The entire city sits in the crater of what could be an extinct volcano or a meteor impact, though science still is unsure of which one it is. As they leave the boat, Ash and his friends are stopped by Fitz. "Listen, I spoke with the captain. We will be here for the next 3 days, then moving on to Slateport City. If you need a ride, then you can get one from us, as we are the only ship that will be traveling that way, considering the eye of the storm has moved to the south seas of Hoenn." The group thanks Fitz as they walk away from the dock, preparing to climb the pathway that leads inside of the crater. However, Ash takes one look back at the boat, where he can see Drake standing on the deck, giving the boy the same look that he did when they had their first battle. However, the boy is ushered on by his friends as they have begun to ascend. After about an hour of climbing and descending into the mouth of the crater, our heroes find themselves in the Pokemon Center. They want to take the day to relax after the rough ride they had had here, but more importantly, Ash wants a chance to get his Pokemon looked at and work on some training with them as well. But while waiting for them to be called, Ash learns that the center actually has a Pokeblock machine, which is rather odd in a town without a contest hall. So the boy asks Brock if he can help him turn the berries he found on Izabi Island into some block. Brock reluctantly agrees, as he still has a bit of fear of making the block, but nonetheless the two get to work, with Brock providing some of the berries that he had gathered over their journey thus far. While they work, May and Max are in the cafeteria having a meal. May has noticed that something has been up with Max the last few weeks and begins to probe, trying to see if she can figure it out. "You've been pretty distant from Ash," she says, which causes Max to stop his playing with Surskit, only to deny this, stating that he was helping with the work that they needed to do. But May continues, saying that she knows that Max was avoiding their friend. Usually Ash would be someone that Max wouldn't talk to, but this last week it was obvious that Max was going out of his way to avoid their friend. She just wants to know why. Did Ash do something to him that she is unaware of? But Max just continues to deny it, stating that if there was something that was wrong, then she wouldn't understand, so she should just drop it. Realizing that this is a sensitive subject and they just barely got back on good terms, May chooses to table the discussion for now, telling the boy that if he ever wants to talk, she will listen. Not talk, just listen. Max looks at Surskit, petting it on the head as the call rings over the system for the group to come collect all of their Pokemon. Standing, May tells Max to wait here. She will be right back. She then hurries off to where she meets Brock and Ash, who have just finished the Pokeblock. After thanking Nurse Joy and collecting all of their Pokeballs, the group decides that they are going to split up. Ash wants to use the water outside of the center to train with Feebas, while Brock is going to continue monitoring all of his Pokemon, looking for any more side effects from the Master Block. This leaves May, who rejoins Max, as she would rather spend the day with her brother just hanging out with their Pokemon. Following up with Ash, he is outside of the center as he releases Feebas and Snorunt from their Pokeballs. Ash introduces Feebas to Snorunt, telling it that the Ice type was the one who showed Ash where the berries were to make the Pokeblock. This causes a reaction that Ash wasn't expecting. Feebas tackles Snorunt, which at first is taken as a sign of aggression, but Ash quickly sees that it is Feebas thanking the Ice type in the only way that it knows how. This is the first sign of true happiness that Ash has seen from the fish in a long time. It's a welcome change with all of the lows that they've had as of late. Once the two are tired of playing, Ash presents Feebas with the block that he had made, only for the fish to waste no time in devouring it, which is a significantly larger amount than it was the first time. Once Feebas finishes its meal, a strange side effect presents itself as the fish glows slightly and its scales begin to shine as if they were just polished. Ash then watches as Feebas takes back to the water and darts around with speed that he hasn't seen before. This is really something that has the fish excited, and by proxy, Snowrunt is as excited as it is, as it has been able to help with this, only to jump into the water and ride on the back of its newest best buddy. Seeing that they have a good moment going, Ash takes this as a sign that they need to use it to train and master this new speed that the fish has. While things are rather pleasant, Feebas quickly begins to get overconfident and loses control, causing it and Snowrunt to crash in the water. But this is just a minor inconvenience, as the two laugh it off. But this does trigger Snowrunt by sneezing from the water getting into its nostrils, causing an icy wind to fly in the direction of Feebas. Not wanting any harm to come to his water type, Ash tells it to dive and avoid it, but something else happens. Feebas glows once again as the attack hits it, but it is then sent back to Snowrunt, who is then covered in its own mucus and ice. This causes a moment of confusion and silence. Wondering what that was, Ash pulls out his Pokédex, only to find out that Feebas has learned a move called Mirror Coat. Wow, Ash says, that's a really good move, and in the right situation, it can be really useful in battle. Feebas, you are getting a lot stronger. I think I'm going to use you in my gym battle tomorrow. The fish likes the sound of that, as it hasn't had the chance to be in one since joining Ash. This is where Ash is interrupted by a man that is dressed rather strangely. So, you're here for a gym battle, are you? Turning, Ash sees a man that is in a strange overcoat. Yeah, I was going to challenge it in the morning. Ash then asks if the man is the gym leader of the city. Smiling, the man introduces himself as Hoenn. As far as the gym leader, he used to be a while back, but has since retired to pursue other endeavors. However, if Ash would like, he should come visit his water ballet arena tomorrow and watch his show. The gym leader will be there, and he can introduce the two of them. Introducing himself, Ash asks where it is, to which Hoenn points across the water to the other side of the city. There is a place that Ash thinks looks like a contest hall. Hoenn tells the boy to be there tomorrow at noon. That is when the show starts. He will introduce the gym leader then. Ash thanks Hoenn, telling him that he and his friends will be there. Hoenn then turns, thinking to himself that this boy and his Feebas seem interesting. Wallace will like this, while Ash just thinks this entire encounter was strange. Later, back when Ash meets up with his friends, he tells them about Hoenn and that they are invited to see some sort of water ballet. He then explains to May that he thinks that the place they are supposed to be at could be a contest hall. However, the girl says it can't be. There isn't a registered contest hall in the city, to which Max confirms with the Pokénav. Well, I guess we'll just have to find out tomorrow, Ash says, as he and Pikachu stuff their faces after a long day of training with Feebas and Snowrunt. The next morning, our heroes find themselves at the site of the water ballet that Hoenn had invited them to. However, they quickly find out that what Ash said is true. This place does look like a contest hall. Upon entering, they find that the place is packed with the citizens of the city. However, there seems to be nowhere to sit, as the group scours the surrounding area. Then, Ash spots a seat, a small row up in front that seems to be empty, and it just so happens to have 4. Quickly, they all rush to fill them before someone else does. But there seems to be a problem when they get down there. A man that is dressed very flamboyantly tells the group to stop. These seats are reserved for him and other guests that will be attending. Quickly, the group turns, telling the man sorry, but they were invited here, and there seems to be nowhere else to sit. The man introduces himself as Wallace, and says that this is quite the pickle that they find themselves in. Maybe he can help with it. But as the group is conversing, the lights dim, and the man known as Hoenn steps onto the platforms in the middle of the arena. He thanks everyone for coming, as today he has a big announcement. He then points to his partner in the efforts, and the spotlight pans to our heroes and Wallace, who stops mid-discussion, while Hoenn is introducing him as the city's gym leader. This gets Ash's attention, but is stopped by Hoenn when he realizes what has happened. Realizing the conundrum, Hoenn invites Ash's group and Wallace to join him on stage. This is a very special day, so some new competitors will be just the thing to make it that much more special. Once they join Hoenn, the group finds out that they have arrived on a very special day. It's the annual Wallace Ballet. It is a competition that happens once a year in Sootopolis. It is sponsored by both Hoenn and Wallace, the former and current gym leaders of the city, both of which are also former winners of the Grand Festival. This gets the attention of our heroes as Hoenn holds up what appears to be a contest ribbon. The man then reveals that today will be a contest-style event. They have several contestants in attendance that are looking to add this ribbon to their collection. Not only is it a rare one, as it is only given out once a year, but it is also valid for access to the Grand Festival, which both May and Ash both take interest in. As Hoenn finishes his speech, he then turns to Ash and his friends. So will you take part in the festivities? While Max and Brock decline, Ash and May step forward. They want the chance to win another ribbon. Hoenn announces that they will be added to the roster. So now let's begin. As the crowd cheers, Hoenn turns to Ash and May. I see you met Wallace, the gym leader, and my former student. He and I will be judging the competitions, so you both should put your best foot forward. I've been following you two and the rest of the participants in this season's competitions. Both of you have impressed me and Wallace, so when I saw you yesterday, I knew that I had to have you in the Wallace Ballet. Hoenn then walks away to prepare. Wallace then tells Ash and May that he looks forward to their performances. He then joins Hoenn as the two are left to go get ready for this unexpected turn of events. This just leaves Brock and Max as they are forced to head back to the empty seats in the front row. However, when they get there, the 4 seats have become 2 as they have been filled by 2 people. One, Max is able to recognize as Mr. Stone, the president of the Devon Corporation. The man tells the two it's good to see them. He then introduces his companion, his son, Stephen Stone. The gray-haired man then waves, introducing himself as they settle in for what Stephen hopes to be an interesting show. Over with Ash and May, they are preparing after finding out the rules of this contest. It is a single Pokemon elimination. The rounds all work like battle rounds. The contest puts a lot of emphasis on battles and how well you can use your Pokemon to highlight their traits. The difference is they won't win by points. The only way to win is for a total knockout or for the judges to make the call. This means that the trainers have to be extra careful. Ash and May find this out firsthand as they watch the first round underway between a couple of local trainers. The round barely lasts 30 seconds before Wallace stops the battle as one of the contestants fails to use their Pokemon to its fullest potential. This puts May and Ash on alert. The first battle was over that quick, and it wasn't even decided by the trainers or Pokemon. That means they will need to be on their toes if they hope to even have a chance, which is going to be put to the test right now, with Ash as he is called for the second round of battles. Luckily for the boy, this will be on a water-style battlefield, and he has just the Pokemon in mind for it. However, the person he's going to have to deal with is another local trainer who happens to use a Mantine. As the battle begins, Ash quickly finds out that he is going to be a tricky path to navigate as Mantine has mastered the water while Feebas is still trying to master its new speed that it got from the Pokeblock. It gets to the point to Wallace grows tired of this. However, Hoenn stops him, saying the reason that he wanted Ash here is because of his Feebas. So let's wait and see what they can do. Luckily, it won't take long for them to find out just how capable Ash can be when he and his Pokemon are in sync. This comes in the form of a bubble beam that comes from Mantine. Feebas is able to use a water pulse as a counter maneuver and use the separation of the water that is left in the wake to strike back with the double edge at the command of Ash. This is enough to drive Mantine into the wall of the pool, knocking it out and giving Ash the win. As Ash walks off the field, Hoenn tells Wallace that is what he was talking about. However, the gym leader remains unconvinced as they move on to the next rounds. Next up is May, as she has decided that she wants to try a Surskit in this competition. She finds herself battling against another local trainer that wields a Pokemon known as Wishcash. The fish is massive compared to her little bug. However, May has figured out an advantage that her Mon has over the other. Wishcash is relegated to only swimming and attacking from points within the water, while Surskit is able to literally walk on water, making its ability to sense where the attacks are coming from very precise. This results in a back and forth that pleases both Wallace and Hoenn, with the latter thinking that this girl is a natural when it comes to contests. What follows is Wishcash tiring itself out, allowing Surskit to capitalize on the fish's massive weakness to grass with the Giga Drain, literally sucking the life from it. This allows May to move on to the next round, with Max cheering from the front row, telling the bug that it's amazing and can win the whole ballet. With Ash and May now established, the two waste no time in making the rest of the local trainers look like complete and utter fools, as their experiences from the past contests play a huge part in getting them both to the finals. Now, while Wallace has started to come around to the idea of Ash and his abilities as a performer, the gym leader is far more impressed with May, as she has become the standout star of the entire competition. The leader is very intrigued to see what May can do, considering the two of them seem to be best friends. However, there won't be much of a wait, as the finals are set to start, as a bunch of the sore local trainers watch with May and Ash staring each other down. The two are excited to face each other and declare that they won't be holding back just because they're friends. As the bell is rang to start, both trainers hold nothing back in their commands. However, it's obvious that May is the more diverse coordinator, and she makes better highlights of Surskit than Ash can with Feebas. But what Ash lacks in elegance, he makes up for in battle experience, being able to read May's telegraphed moves, allowing him to retaliate with Feebas's higher experience in battle. This leads to May slipping up when she thinks that Ash slipped up, giving her an opening for a Giga Drain. However, this is merely a ploy on his part, using Feebas's new speed to create an after image of itself. In this moment, Ash realized that it had just learned Double Team, and the boy uses it to his advantage, as a now open Surskit will be met with an unguarded double edge that sends the bug into the wall of the pool, knocking it out in the process. This leaves everybody stunned, including Wallace, as he didn't think that Ash would be able to win here. However, he has been proven wrong, so the boy wants to challenge me for a badge. Well, I can't wait to see what he can do when he faces someone of my caliber, Wallace thinks to himself, as he watches Hoenn present Ash with his third ribbon of the Hoenn region. Later that night, Ash and May are at the Pokemon Center, looking up at the night sky. He asks May if she's upset about his win earlier today. However, she shakes her head. Having Ash around as someone to train with has made her get better. Today was proof that she needs to push harder if she wishes to be able to have any chance at winning the Grand Festival. The two then smile as they look up into the night sky with the circulating storm above the city. The next morning, after a night of hard rain and crashing thunder, our heroes find themselves at the door of the Sootopolis gym. Ash is excited to get his next badge, as it was all he could think about the prior night. Still feeling the high of his win in the Wallace Ballet, Ash is ready for this next challenge, as he pushes on the door of the gym with his friends following him in. However, our heroes are going to be met with a sight that they weren't expecting, as Wallace and Hoenn are talking with two gentlemen, the two that Brock and Max had met the day prior, Mr. Stone and his son, who Ash and May come to be known as the champion of the Hoenn region, Stephen Stone. Now, while Ash wants a chance to talk with the person that he has found out as the champion, he doesn't get it, as the conversation they were having seemed to be pretty serious. The only thing that could be heard was Stephen asking if Wallace was able to secure it. The leader nods in a serious expression, only for the tone to change the moment they see Ash. This causes the two Stones to end their tenure in the gym, as they excuse themselves, only for Mr. Stone to greet Max briefly before he and his son depart. As Wallace greets Ash, the boy asks if that was really the champion of the Hoenn region. The leader responds, telling Ash that he is. Stephen and Wallace were old friends, and he was just stopping by to say hi. But enough about him. Let's focus on the matter at hand. You impressed me with your battling skills yesterday. Hoenn tried to tell me, but I didn't want to believe him. But after your win, let's just say I'm intrigued to see what you can do in an actual battle. This refocuses Ash on the task at hand. Wallace, it's all I could think about last night. Well then, why don't we get started? Wallace then leads Ash into the battle area of the gym, as Hoenn leads the rest of our heroes to the seating area. Hoenn tells them that this used to be his gym, but when he wanted to retire, Wallace, his former student, took over. May asks if Wallace is as good a trainer as him, but he shakes his head. No, he's better. Wallace is what you could call a prodigy. Water is a natural extension of him. I've never seen someone wield the water typing like he does. If your friend wishes to earn the Sootopolis badge, then he will have to demonstrate a knowledge of Pokemon that Wallace has never seen. Back on the battlefield, Wallace explains the rules of their battle. They will be using 3 Pokemon, but their first battle will be a tag-style battle. That will last until Wallace's team is unable to battle. Then they will switch to one-on-one combat. Ash can make substitutions. Do you understand? Our hero nods, eager to start the battle. So, the official signals for both parties to choose their first set of Pokemon. Ash wastes no time, as he has a new duo that has become fast friends as he declares, Snorunt, Feebas, I choose you. The two take to the field, both feeling oddly at home with each other. Wallace sees that these two have a trust in each other, so he wants to put it to the test, as he sends in his 2 choices, a duo that Ash comes to know as Lovedisk and Gorbis. The pink pair emerge from their Pokeballs with what Ash can only describe as a flare that you would only see in a contest. With both teams decided, the official gives the command to start. Wallace gives Ash Ash the first move, to which he wastes no time in getting started with an Icy Wind and a Water Pulse combo. While impressed, this isn't the Ash Wallace saw the day before, as he is able to easily counter this move with a double agility from his two Pokemon. This allows them to speed up just past the attacks, only for them to strike their opponents with the next round in a return and a Swift that strikes both of Ash's Mons unguarded. This drives them both beneath the waves, to which both Gorbis and Luvdisc are quick to take advantage of with the Whirlpool from the Pink Serpent, while Luvdisc is quick to circle around and use a Water Pulse that strikes the two for some serious damage. Ash knows that he needs to do something, or things will end badly here. Wallace comments that this is not what Ash had displayed the prior day. He is less than impressed. However, Ash is quick to answer this criticism as he orders Feebas to use a double edge, but the target is his own teammate, as Snorunt is jettisoned from the Whirlpool with Ash commanding for a headbutt that strikes Gorbis with enough force to send it into the pool wall. With his interest finally peaked, Wallace orders Gorbis to counter with the confusion. However, this isn't going to go too well, as the secondary effect of Headbutt comes into play when it flinches at the command. Seeing an opening, Ash orders Snorunt to hit with the Bite to end this. This is able to connect for some good damage, but Luvdisc is quick on the counter, as Wallace orders it to use an Attract that infatuates Snorunt. Ash orders Feebas in to offer help. However, Gorbis has recovered and is able to use that confusion that hits the two, driving them into the wall on the other side of the pool, creating some much needed distance between the two teams. Ash knows that he is in a very bad position. However, how bad is going to be on full display when he orders Snorunt to attack Gorbis, but Luvdisc acts as a shield, deterring the Ice type's effort due to it being in love. This creates an opening for Team Wallace that Ash tries to defend against with Feebas, but unfortunately the fish is too late, as its buddy Snorunt takes a double hit from a confusion and a Water Pulse that causes it to go belly up with spirals in its eyes. Ash recalls the Snow Hat, as Wallace tells him it's a shame that it didn't work out. He was starting to show great potential with his combos. So, what's your next Pokemon going to be? The only way we can move on from the tag team portion of our battle is for you to beat my team. Ash knows that this next one is his final choice, so he has to go with the sure thing that he knows can pull him through, as he turns to his partner, as it is sparking at the cheeks, having been on the same line of thought as its trainer. Pikachu then jumps into the battle to join Feebas, as the next exchange is set to start. Wallace takes the first move here, calling for an Attract Swift combo to help ensure that they both hit with the Infatuation move. Ash knows that there's only one real option here. He's going to have to fire back with one of his own. So the boy tells the mouse to mount the back of his fish before they take off in the direction of the attack. Wallace thinks that this is foolish, as it all but guarantees that his attack is going to hit, and this is even more so when Ash calls for a double edge. However, what follows is what catches Wallace off guard, as Ash unveils his secret move, an Electro Volley. Surrounding both in an electric ball, Pikachu and Feebas are able to push through the double assault of the gym leader. However, Wallace won't let this stop him, as he orders his team to dodge, as this should be simple with them only aiming for one target. But the two water types are unable to move. This is when Wallace looks closer, only to see that the attack from Team Ash has caused the water to become partially electrified, causing a paralysis to both of his Pokemon. The gym leader is unable to do anything, as they are both crashed into with the electric tackle. This hits Luvdisc first, so it takes the brunt of the damage, but as soon as it connects with Gorbis, the damage it took from Snorunt comes into play, as both are one-shotted out of the pool like bullets, only for them to land at the feet of Wallace with spirals in their eyes. This leaves the gym leader a bit stunned, as Juan stands up and applauds Ash for his use of the two Pokemon to end it as quickly as possible. Wallace is forced to acknowledge this as well, complimenting Ash as he recalls his team. He didn't think he would lose that one, let alone both in one shot. So, recalling his team, Wallace tells Ash that they will be shifting to single battles. He has only one Pokemon to Ash's two, so the boy will have to decide on which one he wants to use. Ash tells Pikachu to come back, as he wants to go with Feebas for the time being. Wallace smiles. This is going to be interesting, as he sends in his final Pokemon. Something that Ash thought may be a possibility with this being a water-type gym, as the fully evolved form of Ash's choice emerges into the pool, with Milotic dispersing water, as it makes its presence known. Ash knows instantly this one is far different than the one they faced that was owned by Vito, and and with Wallace being a coordinator, he and his fish will have to be on their toes and fins if they have any hopes of winning. So with the start of the battle, Ash goes on the attack, ordering a water pulse. However, this is quickly overshadowed with Wallace's counter as Milotic unleashes a giant wave as it executes a surf aimed to swallow the fish. Ordering Feebas to take the wave, Ash aims for it to ride to the top. However, the wall of water ascends too fast as it crashes down before Feebas can get to the crest, and it is slammed into the floor outside of the pool. While this isn't enough to end the fish, it did take noticeable damage as it does its best to bounce back into the pool. Wallace compliments Feebas as he had thought that would have ended it, but Ash tells the leader that his water type has far more endurance than any other he had ever seen, so he shouldn't count it out. However, Ash knows this is a partial bluff, as the boy is fully aware that because of all the double edges it used, his fish's health has begun to run low, and the next move could be the end. Wallace can see this as well, and he wants to end this, as he aims right for Feebas, calling for a twister. Milotic opens its tail, summoning a whirlwind of draconic energy, and it surges around the pool at a speed that Ash's tired water type won't be able to dodge. Knowing they have no other choice, Ash decides it's all or nothing with this move, telling Feebas to use Mirror Coat. The twister comes crashing down as the fish coats itself in a rainbow aura, only for it to take the whole attack and send it right back at Milotic before falling to its wounds. The serpent can do nothing but take the attack for massive damage. However, this is of little consequence as the attack accomplished what it was supposed to do. Calling Feebas, Ash thanks it for all of the effort that it put in, before turning back to Pikachu and telling the mouse that he leaves the rest of this battle to it. Sparking as it jumps back in, Wallace knows full well that he will have to be wary of that move he used in the double battle. Who knows just how well they have mastered something like that. However, the leader won't have to wait long to find out, as the start of the final battle is called and Ash orders a thunderbolt. Pikachu fires away, only for the attack to be countered with another twister that prevents any damage from getting through. Knowing they will have to get in close, Ash orders Pikachu to jump from platform to platform as it fires thunderbolts, trying to keep Milotic on the defensive. However, our hero gets a surprise when Wallace chooses to let the serpent take one of the electric attacks, so that way it can counter with another surf that causes a wave far bigger than the one that had hit Feebas. Wallace is feeling pretty confident that this battle is his. However, Ash has an answer to this, copying what Feebas did by ordering a quick attack, allowing Pikachu to run up the wall of water. Its speed is enough to outpace the crash of the wave as Pikachu gets some serious air, surprising Wallace. But the leader did have a move to counter this in the form of an ice beam, as it is fired in the direction of the mouse. Seeing that this is their chance, Ash orders Pikachu to use its fall to amplify an Iron Tail. The Steel type move allows it to break through the ice move and crack Milotic on the head as the water subsides, with Pikachu landing back on a platform. This attack left Milotic looking a little wobbly after being hit, giving Ash confidence that they are close to ending this. However, he is in for a rude awakening when Wallace reveals his Ace's trump card, calling for a recover that heals most of the damage that the servants had taken. It begins to sink in that if Ash wants this badge, then he is going to have to get extreme with his damage output. Knowing that he has Ash on a slight tilt, Wallace turns on the pressure by ordering another ice beam. Ash knows that he needs to create an opening, so he tries something a little crazy, as he tells Pikachu to use an Iron Tail in the water. This causes the ice to connect with it instead of the mouse, creating an ice tunnel that leads directly to the serpent. Seeing what is happening, Wallace orders a twister as Pikachu jumps into the tunnel, using it as cover as it speeds down the ice pathway with a quick attack before finding itself face to face with the water type and a now towering wave of water from a surf attack. Knowing this could be a problem, Ash orders an Iron Tail that shatters the ice tunnel and sends it into projectiles to help fend off the water attack. This creates openings that Ash uses, telling Pikachu to use the ice as platform so it can run up and gain some height. However, as it gets above the wave, the mouse finds that Milotic was waiting as it fires a twister that Pikachu can't protect itself from, as it is driven into the gym wall with a bone-shattering thud. Ash calls to his starter as Pikachu struggles to stand up. The mouse took some serious damage in that exchange, and if it's hit again, that will be it. On the other hand, if they don't end Milotic in one hit, then it will just recover back to full health. Ash can see a path to victory, but it is very risky. Wallace, on the other hand, feels like this battle has run its course, telling Ash so, only for the boy to say that they won't give up until they can't move. With a smile, the leader can see that Ash won't let this end without a definitive winner, so he will oblige him, as the boy tells Pikachu to use the move move, Electro Volley. However, this time it is different as multiple smaller balls are fired in the direction of Milotic. Realizing that these cannot be hit, the leader chooses to wash them away with Surf. However, this is what Ash was looking for as he needed the water for this attack, as Pikachu speeds into the dive of Milotic with a quick attack. Wallace doesn't understand what Ash's game is here, but tells Milotic to finish it, only for the balls of energy to come crashing down, causing the serpent to move sporadically. This gives Pikachu an opening of milliseconds where the water is completely surrounding both it and Pikachu. Wasting no time, Ash uses the mouse's dangerous position to call for its ultimate technique, as Wallace can do nothing but watch as Milotic is caught in a thunder that is amplified by the water that both it and Pikachu are doused in. A yellow glow comes from within the pool as neither Pokemon can be seen. Both trainers watch intensely, waiting to see the outcome. Then, bubbles begin to surface before Milotic floats up, revealing spirals in its eyes as Pikachu sits on it, breathing heavily. The match is called with Ash as the winner, as the boy celebrates with Pikachu. The two are ecstatic that they just won their 6th badge. Wallace recalls Milotic as Juan stands clapping once more. The man simply smiles, thinking that once again his teacher was right about this boy. Then Wallace presents Ash with his 6th badge of the region, the Rain Badge. Taking it, Ash adds it to his others before thanking Wallace for the intense battle. He learned a lot from battling a Grand Festival winner. Wallace begins to say something, but is interrupted by a violent shaking that can be felt throughout the gym. This is followed by an echo of an explosion and more violent quakes. This causes the attitude of everyone to change, as they are unsure of what is happening. However, both Wallace and Juan know immediately what this was, as they both say the same thing, the Cave of Origin, before running from the gym, leaving Ash and his friends confused. However, there is one thing that they know. Something dangerous is happening, and our heroes need to help. Exiting the gym, the group sees Wallace and Juan running behind the gym in a panic as the vibrations shake the city to its center. The locals have all begun to panic as some of them begin to claim that the volcano is coming back to life and they need to evacuate now. On the outside of the city, Drake sits on the deck of his ship wondering what is going on. Back with Ash, he and his friends have given chase to Juan and Wallace. However, the only thing that they can see is Juan releasing what looks like a Kingdra before the two dive into a pool of water that is hidden in a small grotto behind the gym. All of our heroes look at each other. There is nothing we can do, Max says. They went beneath the water, which is seconded by May. However, both Brock and Ash know that they may need help, so they tell them to help the residents evacuate, while Brock and Ash send out Lotad and a very tired Feebas. The two explain to their Pokemon what is happening. While Feebas is worn out, it agrees to help. The last thing May and Max says is for Ash and Brock to be careful, as the two disappear into the water cave. Down below, Ash and Brock find themselves in a vast underwater cave system. It appears to go on forever. What's worse is the visibility is next to nothing as they get farther away from the opening that they came down in. However, this is quickly the least of their problems, as there is no place to surface and the two boys are running out of air. This is when Lotad reveals something that not even Brock knew it could do. The leaf on its head begins to glow in a fluorescent light, revealing several pathways, but one sticks out more than the others, as it has a flow of water. Realizing they are out of time, the water types make the choice to follow the current, which just so happens to lead in the direction of the quakes that they are feeling. The pace quickly increases as the current picks up, until a light from the surface comes into the view. Quickly, the group surfaces, only to be met with a scene that they weren't expecting. Both Wallace and Juan have been decimated by explosions as Kingdra and a Swampert lay unconscious, with violent explosions going off all around them. Juan and Wallace are unable to do anything, as across the cave stands the person that Ash dealt with on Mount Pyre, Team Aqua, and the one known as Phantom. The old pirate is laughing maniacally, holding something that appears to be a Pokemon egg. Juan and Wallace yell that Phantom has no idea what he is doing, to which he simply responds that he knows exactly what he is doing. This is the key to finding the Sea Temple. Then, to prevent any more interference, Phantom detonates a charge on the cave wall that blasts a hole and causes the cavern to begin to flood. However, this isn't the worst of things, as the explosion begins to cause a cave-in. Ash and Brock do their best to make their way to the two men, trying to save them, but the roof caves in, collapsing as they move farther. The last thing we see is the panic on everyone's faces, followed by a bright light, then nothing but darkness. While on the surface, a blond man arrives in Sootopolis amid the quakes, saying to himself, I know Phantom is here. And this is where we are going to leave things for now. So tell me, how did you like this part? How did you feel about the contest they had and the newest ribbons and badges that were earned? What was the reason that Steven and his father were in Sutopolis? And what about the gym battle with Wallace? Do you think Ash truly bested the water type trainer? And of course, what was Phantom after in the cave? And were our heroes able to survive the cave-in? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's all we had for today's video. I really appreciate you guys stopping by to watch all the way to the end, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. If you guys really enjoy my content, consider following me on some of my other platforms like Discord, where you can get to know other people who are interested in what ifs, or on Twitter, where I post sometimes behind the scenes updates. Or if you want to help the channel grow a little bit extra, why don't you consider donating like the people right here have, as whatever you could offer could help us get to a larger audience by helping us get new videos done, or some of the projects that we've been working. Custom art is getting kind of expensive, so we want to make sure that we have the funds to do that. But with all that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed everything, and I will see you in the next video.